Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is George coming to you from Kitchen Table Scale Models, welcoming you to today's episode of Model Cars and Coffee. Full disclosure, I'm not drinking coffee, I'm drinking tea. It's a little lower on caffeine. I already had a cup of coffee today, and I don't want any more caffeine because I'm going to be doing some bare metal foil on my 61 Impala later today, and that's not something you want to be shaking when you do. So, today, what we're going to look at is two builds that I featured last week in my What's Cooking video. This is a 36 Ford and a 1960 Ford Starliner. And these are two special builds. And, well, instead of me talking about them, let's turn this camera around and show them to you. Thanks. So let's start with this pretty little 36 Ford. This is an old AMT kit. If you've built this kit and are familiar with it, you know it's the one with the separate top that could be built either as a roadster or a coupe. Excuse me. I wanted to build a coupe, but I didn't want to screw around with trying to get that top to fit right and mold it. And well, as things turned out, I happened to have a chop top resin coupe body, chop top coupe resin body that I picked up at a yard sale about 5 or 6 years ago, and don't know who made it, but it was a nice casting. Didn't need much cleanup at all. All right. Somebody said it could be all American models. I don't know, but anyway, it's other than that, this coupe is built pretty much out of the box. It was a fun build. I did this as kind of a, I don't know, slump buster, palate cleanser, whatever you want to call it. I wanted something that I could get together fairly quickly, fairly easily, without a lot of brain damage. I try to do something new or different on every one of my builds, or something I've never done before. And this one featured a couple, just one or two things really. The paint on this is scale finishes, cardiac red pearl over a black base, and I really like the color. It came out really nice. This paint works really nice. I think the clear on this might be Mr. Color Clear. I don't think I used the scale finishes clear on it, but it looks good. But the only thing I added to the kit is the wheels and tires came from an AMT parts pack. The Kelsey Hayes wheels with wide white walls. The rest of this is pretty much out of the box. Let me see if I can zoom in and take some close-ups here, or show you some close-ups. The engine, little modest detailing. I did some wiring and wiring harnesses. The magneto is right from the kit. I just drilled a hole in the middle of it and passed the wires through. The color on the engine is the dark blue that matches the same dark blue I used for the interior. And when I'm talking about the interior, you'll see something new in there, something different. I used washi tape to replicate plaid cloth panels on the centers of the seat. I first saw that used, I think it was Jason Hanscom at Blue Ox. Used that on a build, and it looked really good, and as luck would have it, the width of the panel on the seat was exactly the width of the washi tape, so I didn't have to do a lot of trimming. I just had to put the piece on there. As far as any aftermarkets on this, I think the steering wheel may have come from MCV products. The wires also came from MCV. I think they're Detail Master or something like that. Some of the modifications I did to this, I wanted to go for a smooth look. I wanted it to look just kind of clean and smooth. So I shaved down the running boards. So it came through a little bit in there, but I shaved down the running boards. And I also shaved the firewall, so it's a nice smooth firewall. Other than that, this is again done right out of the box. The exhaust pipes don't quite match up, and now that I notice, they're not even symmetrical side to side. But hey, you know, you only look at one side at a time. And like I said, it's just you know, it's just a shelf model. It's a little bit of a slump buster. Uh, you know, things. You know, new techniques on this again was the washi tape, and I painted those side pipes the same color as the interior, the dark blue. So it kind of all tied together with, you know, a couple different colors. Love the color, and it kind of led me to my next build. Let's move this aside. Whoops, dropped the hood. There we go. So this 60 Ford Starliner, Starliner. What the hell is it called? I don't know. Starliner. I really, this is probably my favorite of everything I've ever built. This kit is kind of evolved. It took shape. It didn't go in a completely different direction than I originally planned, but it did take a couple of turns. I frequently decide what to build by going through my paint stash and looking at a color and saying, you know, this color would look really good on. Well, this is Scale Finishes Pearl Kalea. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Orange Pearl. I sprayed it over either a Gunzy, either a Mr. Color, or to me a orange base, because I really wanted the orange color to pop, and well, pop it did. And my original thought was to, you know, this whole thing was just going to be all orange with, you know, white and orange interior, and, you know, that was going to be it. But as things took shape, a couple things happened. Number one, as I was doing the paint on it, this paint is a pretty hot paint, and what I find is that you pretty much need to have a perfect body underneath it. Even if you physically remove, and you can almost see it on this one, there's a mold line. Right, well, I got it off on that side, but there's a mold line comes off the back of the C-pillar, and you could physically have that removed, not even see it. You prime it, it's gone, and then you hit it with this pearl paint, and it just, the little plastic flaw just pops right out. Well, I had a lot of problems with the roof. The kit is molded with a dome light in the middle of the roof, which is, you know, a nice feature that you can't see. But that dome light caused a little depression in the roof that just took forever to get smooth. And I primed it, I base coated it, and it was gone. And as soon as I hit it with the orange, it just, you know, it was there. It popped back. Problem at that point is I had already used up all of the orange paint I had. So I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And then I was sitting there in my shop, and I was looking at the 36 and thinking, you know what? I got an idea. Let's do that top in the cardiac red. So with that, this thing started to take shape. I decided to abandon the idea of typical chrome mags. I can't remember what kind of mags I picked on this, but I had put some kind of chrome wheels on here. I decided to do away with the idea of the chrome wheels and go with the painted steelies and wide white walls to match the roof, which, you know, as you can see, I did. And then you know, kind of about the time I was working about the maybe right before I started this, but this, I was working on this, starting this back in the spring, or at least I was building it in my brain, even if I hadn't yet done anything with it. We lost Dave Winfield, and if, you know, those of you familiar with Dave Winfield, you know his signature was the Winfield fade. So I thought, you know, I'm going to do a fade on this, and I'm going to use that cardiac red on the sides to do the fade. I got rid of a lot of the chrome trim because I wanted the paint and the fade to be the focal point. I only kept a single chrome spear down the side, which you see. If you're familiar with this kit, the stock car has a piece of chrome trim that goes across the top of this ridge, and behind the rear wheels there's a metal chrome panel in here. So I smoothed all of that out, removed the chrome trim from the top. I kept the chrome spear down the middle to down the side as a way to just kind of break up the orange, and then I kind of went after it. This thing had, I think, 13 or 14 trips to the spray booth. By the time I put primer, base coats, color coats, clear, masked it off for 3 different colors. Because as you can see, I've got I used roof. I used gold along this roof rail, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. The way I did the fade, just to kind of share that a little bit. Let me take this off. One of the things, one of the advantages of living with a woman who's an artist and having friends who are artists is they've taught me to look at colors differently and use colors differently. And I've learned that, you know, when you're looking at an object, you're not really seeing the color itself. You're seeing the light that's being reflected. So by using color, you can do fun things with light. And my intent here was to kind of make this ridge appear deeper than it really was, or this valley, make this body highlight appear more prominent than it was by using a darker paint on the sides. So I not only did the fade along the ridge and along the bottom, but you can see I very lightly dusted the whole side panel with a little bit of the red, just to darken it up a little. And to get a sharp line, I did use masking tape along the top edge of the fender, and I used a single action Badger, I think it was a 103, a single action Badger airbrush with a 0.3 millimeter or 03, whatever it is, 0.03 needle at very low pressure, so I can control the spray. I wanted to go with a single action because I wanted a consistent spray. I didn't want to have to play with, you know, how much paint I was bringing in and how much pressure, you know. So I went with a single action, and I used that to do not only the fade down the side, but the whole side panel. I mentioned that when looking at that 36, that I like to try to perfect or work on new techniques on each build. One thing that's escaped me, at least up until now, is the use of bare metal foil. I've not really been able to. I'm going to turn this turntable off here. It's getting in my way. I not bare metal foil. I said bare metal foil. I meant flocking. I've really had a challenge with flocking, trying to get it to look smooth and consistent. And I mean, I've used all the, you know, I tried glue, I tried paint, I tried different glues, and nothing I did really looked. I wasn't really happy with anything. It all was coming out lumpy and bumpy and inconsistent. And then I decided, you know, let's try something different here. And what I did is I sprayed the area to be flocked. I sprayed with a fairly wet coat of the same orange base that was underneath the body. And while it was still wet, I just hit it with a lot of flocking powder through a tea strainer. And it went on nice and smooth, nice and consistent. and gave me the look you see. That rear package shelf is pretty flocking good. Excuse me. Side pipes, of course, you can't have a 60s Custom without side pipes. Underside is nothing crazy, just oxide red like Ford undersides are. And I think those tires, I can't remember if these tires came in the kit or not, but they're nice Firestone wide ovals. The one thing I did do is I used a circle template to mask and paint the white walls. You can see a little bit here where the Starliner script was, and believe me, after under primer you don't see that, but as soon as I hit it with the pearl, it popped right out. It seems like I have mishaps or little things go wrong on every kit, and on this one, as I was doing final assembly, trying to take these windshield wipers off the sprue, I snapped one of them, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? It's a unique piece. Fortunately, this kit is still pretty widely available. I found one online for a decent price. I ordered it, and I have it, and I snagged the windshield wipers out of that kit, and I'm going to use that kit. My plan on that kit is to build a kind of a companion car to this, only it's going to be as a gasser, and gassers don't need windshield wipers, so there you go. That's about it. Again, well, let me show you the engine. The only thing not stock on the engine is I used, I think it was a MCV Products 3D printed distributor, and I guess it was ProTech wire looms or somebody like that. But the engine's stock out of the box, a little bit of panel liner on there to highlight some things. And look at that, there's a corgi here down there in the engine compartment. I wonder how that got there. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you really like it a lot, subscribe. And if you don't like it, you don't need to do anything. But this is my 60 Starliner, which I see things wrong with it now that I hadn't seen before. This is the first time I noticed that bumper's not straight. I think I'll probably have to, I think I can pop that off and fix that. The other thing I noticed is I really got a lot of glue on that windshield, so it's a nice looking model. It's a good shelf model. I put it on a couple tables of contests, and it, not surprisingly, it didn't do anything. But I'm learning. I've only been doing this, 60 some years, and I still learn. So thanks for watching. Thanks for looking at my models, and thanks for subscribing to the channel if you're a subscriber, and if you're not a subscriber, thank you if you will be one. And with that, you guys have a good day. Thanks. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is George coming to you from Kitchen Table Scale Models, welcoming you to today's episode of Model Cars and Coffee. Full disclosure, I'm not drinking coffee, I'm drinking tea. It's a little lower on caffeine. I already had a cup of coffee today, and I don't want any more caffeine because I'm going to be doing some bare metal foil on my 61 Impala later today, and that's not something you want to be shaking when you do. So today what we're going to look at is two builds that I featured last week in my What's Cooking video. This is a 36 Ford and a 1960 Ford Starliner. These are two special builds, and well, instead of me talking about them, let's turn this camera around and show them to you. Thanks.